Africa's history is rich with leaders who dreamed of unity, independence, and freedom, but many of them paid the ultimate price: their lives. Today, we look back at 12 African presidents, activists, and revolutionaries who were assassinated for the causes they stood for. 1. Patrice Lumumba, Democratic Republic of Congo, 1961. Congo's first prime minister after independence, Patrice Lumumba was a symbol of Pan-African pride and anti-colonial resistance. In January 1961, Lumumba was captured and executed by firing squad with the involvement of Belgian officers and the CIA, fearful of his ties to the Soviet Union. His death left a scar on the continent's young independence movement. Laurent Désiré Kabila, Democratic Republic of Congo, 2001. 4 decades later, Congo lost another leader, Laurent Kabila, who overthrew Mobutu Sese Seko. He was shot dead in his office in January 2001, reportedly by one of his own bodyguards. The motive remains unclear, but many believe foreign interests and internal power struggles played a role. Muammar Gaddafi, Libya, 2011. For 42 years, Gaddafi ruled Libya with defiance and a Pan-African vision. In October 2011, during the NATO-backed uprising, he was captured and killed by rebels in his hometown of Sirte. His death marked the end of Libya's old regime and the beginning of chaos that still lingers. Samora Machel, Mozambique, 1986. Samora Machel, Mozambique's first president, fought Portuguese colonialism and built a socialist republic. In October 1986, his plane crashed near the South African border, killing him and 33 others. Evidence suggested South African apartheid intelligence might have lured the plane off course. Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso, 1987. The African Che Guevara, Thomas Sankara, led Burkina Faso with honesty, feminism, and self-reliance. But in October 1987, he was assassinated during a coup led by his close ally Blaise Compaoré, a betrayal that ended one of Africa's most visionary revolutions. Jonas Savimbi, Angola, 2002. Jonas Savimbi, leader of UNITA, fought against both colonial and communist forces in Angola's brutal civil war. He was killed in a gun battle with government troops in February 2002. His death effectively ended the war that had torn Angola apart for decades. Sylvanus Olympio, Togo, 1963. Togo's first president, Sylvanus Olympio, sought independence from French control and resisted neo-colonial influence. In January 1963, he was shot dead during a military coup, reportedly led by Sergeant Etienne Ayadema, who later became president himself. Juvenal Habyarimana, Rwanda, 1994. President Juvenal Habyarimana's death triggered one of Africa's darkest chapters, the Rwandan genocide. On April 6, 1994, his plane was shot down near Kigali airport, killing him and Burundi's president. To this day, who fired the missile remains disputed. Some blame Hutu extremists, others the RPF rebels. William R. Tolbert, Liberia, 1980. President William Tolbert led Liberia from 1971 until April 1980, when he was killed during a coup led by Master Sergeant Samuel Doe. It ended more than a century of Americo-Liberian dominance. Samuel Doe, Liberia, 1990. Ironically, a decade later, Samuel Doe met a similar fate. Captured during the Civil War by rebel forces loyal to Prince Johnson, he was tortured and executed on video in September 1990, a chilling reminder of Liberia's violent political cycle. Chris Hani, South Africa, 1993. Chris Hani, the charismatic anti-apartheid leader and head of the South African Communist Party, was assassinated in April 1993 outside his home. His killer, Janusz Valusz, was a far-right extremist, hoping to derail South Africa's transition to democracy. Hani's death nearly plunged the nation into chaos, until Nelson Mandela called for peace. Anton Lubowski, Namibia, 1989. Anton Lubowski, a white Namibian lawyer and SWAPO activist, fought for independence and equality. He was gunned down in Windhoek in September 1989, just months before Namibia's first democratic election. The apartheid-linked South African death squads were widely suspected. Cyprien Ntaryamira, Burundi. Cyprien Ntaryamira, Burundi's president, was on the same plane as Rwanda's Habyarimana when it was shot down on April 6, 1994. Both leaders perished, and their deaths sparked genocides in both nations. From Lumumba to Gaddafi, from Michel to Hani. These leaders dreamed of an Africa that stood tall and free. Their deaths remind us that the struggle for African liberation has always come with a price. The forces that unite us are intrinsic and greater than the superimposed influences that keep us apart. Kwame Nkrumah. Subscribe to Afro Archives for more stories of Africa's untold history and fallen heroes.